Well, we can now chat to etiquette and behaviour expert Liz Brewer. Liz, how should one behave in today's society? What manners are the timeless manners, do you think, that stand, the test of the ages?
Well, listening to you talk just now, I think you've just about covered everything. But where people get confused, and especially in this 21st century, the age of technology, etc., is you have to understand what it's all about. It's about putting people at ease, not causing offence, and actually just being rather nice. There's a difference between etiquette, social behaviour, and if you start thinking about, well, what do I do? There are so many different ways of behaving, but what you have to think is, how am I going to make that person feel comfortable? How am I not going to cause offence? And let's face it, that makes life happier. And really, what is the most common sense way of behaving? If you think about that, where there's a rule, there's a reason. I bang on about this, especially in my last book. Mark, your speech could have written a book just now. That would have been a great book. But where there's a rule, there's a reason. So, you put your elbows on the table. There is nobody up there saying to us guys down here, thou shalt not put your elbows on the table. As I say, where there's a rule, there's a reason. If you're sitting in a line of people, you put your elbow on the table, you're blocking that person out. If the other person's doing this, that person's being blocked out. Common sense. If I'm sitting with you and I want to put my elbows on the table, I'm not blocking anyone out. Well, as I say, where there's a rule, there's a reason, and that's common sense. What's happened, especially due to the last year and a half, where people have been isolated, they've lacked human sort of contact. We've got into Zoom, we've got into technology. We've forgotten really what it's like to actually feel another person's energy, have a proper conversation one-to-one. Now I find I go out to lunch or dinner, the phone isn't slapped on the table. I'm a human being, you're a human being. We don't need that interruption any longer. We're now beginning to value the other person rather than wondering what's going on out there that I may be missing. Is anybody, texting me, etc., etc. Human contact, we are animals. We need human connection. You have an aura, I have an aura. Our aura is energy, and it actually interacts. I can walk in a room and I can decide, I like you. I want to have a conversation with you. I'm going to smile at you. You can feel the same. Or I walk in and I feel as if I want to slightly retreat. With some people, that happens, the general feeling of wanting to know another person, almost instantly. And yes, we used to go and feel you. We could kiss you on both cheeks, give you a hug. So with some people, it would take days, weeks, months. With some people, never at all. You never felt that feeling of, I want to merge with your energy as it was.
I mean, a lot of manners do come down to that sense of body language, that sort of the things that we communicate without being vocal. But there's been a lot that's changed when it comes to expected values and standards in the UK. I mean, in the West in general, but the UK's always had a reputation for the stiff upper lip and having a very sort of structured sense of comportment that we inherited from the Victorian era. But so much has changed. So, holding open doors, giving your seats to a woman, especially when it comes to the gender differences. And now, of course, there seems to be people out there who are essentially offence diviners. They're going around trying to find things that they're going to find insulting.
Absolutely.
Because you've missed their pronouns.
Absolutely.
Where are we?
There's too much aggression. There's too many people going around trying to find fault, rather than looking and thinking, what's great, what's good that's going on. The sun can be shining, but, oh, no, we've got clouds coming, we've got rains coming, etc., etc. I know we are living in a critical time, but it's about time we started to look and focus on the things that is going well. We've got problems in this country, and we think it's personal. We think it's to do with our government. You look around. America's got a far worse problem than we have as far as containers and lorries and backups are concerned. But we're taking everything far too positively, and we're too aggressive about it. you're not going to sort out the world by sitting in the middle of the road and aggravating other people whose lives may depend on them getting from A to B. That's not going to solve the problem.
So manners in many respects are a sort of ointment, a linctus to put on top of things to calm situations down, whereas perhaps now certain expectations of behaviour, or especially when it comes to using the correct words in this day and age, it's gone beyond something being impolite to it almost being considered a form of abuse. Are we losing our manners?
No, it's not a form of abuse. What it is, people, because we've had the pressure put on people about behaviour, you have to do this, you have to do that. A lot of this is to do with protocol. There's a total difference between protocol and etiquette. Protocol is to do with the order of things, government, councils. You know, you have to have protocols so that, you know, the mayor's going to come in before whoever else, his alderman. That person sits there, that person sits there. It's protocol. And there's a code of behaviour, and you address that and you stick to it. And that makes things run smoothly. When it comes to behaviour, social behaviour and etiquette, you know, OK, there is a way of laying a table. There is a way of greeting people. Again, that's to do with order. But if you don't know how to do it, again, what you have to think in your mind is, what is the most sensible way of doing it? What's the most sensible way of laying a table? Obviously, you want your water glass near you. You want, if you're going to have white wine, that's next. If you're going to have red wine. So it's better to put things in an order so you don't have glasses bumping into each other. Exactly the same with knives and forks.
Do you think we ought, as a society, to be making more of manners? Do you think that we're sort of losing some of those old-fashioned manners and values because we find them outmoded?
No. What we have to do is just recognise, don't be in such a hurry all the time. Remember to say thank you. Remember to say please. Look around. Be aware of the people around you. And if somebody needs a seat, it's a question of, you know, you're buying something in the supermarket. That person at the till is a human being. You need to say hello or smile at them. They're not a machine. And it's been the result of the fact that our lives have speeded up to the extent that we forget and we don't seem to have time to remember. We shouldn't have to remember to say thank you, please, hello, how are you, etc. You know, the format which people send you, I get so much now. Dear Liz, hope you are well, or how are you? Well, you know, I'm glad somebody, but that isn't the message. The message is whatever you want to say to me. It's treating human beings as you'd like to be treated yourself. That's nothing new. That has been going on since our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents. It's always been the same. And if you haven't got time to teach your children, which is what's happened, and you're relying on a school who also doesn't have time, somebody's got to set an example to the next generation that is growing up. Because otherwise, how do they know?
Otherwise, we lose our social structure. Liz,
we do.
I'm going to be very polite and say thank you ever so much for taking the time to come into the studio.
Thank you, Alex.
It's been fascinating.